want to make fun of Harley Davidson so bad, but I can't. It's an American motorcycle manufacturer founded in 1903 that survived the Great Depression. It's really America's motorcycle, and let's pretend Indian doesn't exist for a second, but they are heavy bikes, not known for being fast, and not known for really using modern technology. I mean, they are now, but they were behind their Japanese counterparts for many years. What do I mean by that? Well, number one is power to weight. They weigh damn near 800 pounds and don't make that much power, especially the older ones. Not to mention the massive and heavy 6-speed transmission. But I guess it doesn't matter because they're cruisers, and what does technology matter anyways? They still get you down the road. It's like, imagine floating on a big lazy boy at 60 miles an hour and then coming to a complete stop and burning because you're probably on an air-cooled version and the engine uses your body as thermal paste. Now, I know I can't make fun of Harleys because they're doing their best, but their owners? You know where this is going, and I'm not going to do that because I don't want a bunch of men in leather jackets chasing me. But Harley came out swinging, getting tired of being called outdated and not with the times. They came out with the Livewire, Harley's first electric motorcycle, 105 horsepower and 110 miles an hour for the low price of $30,000. Now, unfortunately, Zero Motors came out with a faster bike with longer range for $20,000 before Harley did. And by the way, I'm just kind of being a hater because I would totally rock a Livewire. I mean, I drove a Rat Rod, which is the pinnacle of outdated tech. But the Livewire isn't for your traditional Harley rider. It's for people that have 30 grand to spend on a bike from an iconic brand not known for making electric bikes. Who are these people? Hipsters. Now, the Livewire doesn't look like a Harley, so what if you can take the iconic look of a Harley and make it electric to appeal to Harley owners? The same bikes that race up and down the road at 150 decibels while only making 47 horsepower and get away with it because loud pipes save lives. The same people that love their music so much they want you to hear it too. And I gotta say, I've never heard a louder audio system than that on a Harley Davidson. Nice job, Harley. I mean, really. So we're gonna make an electric Harley Davidson that looks like a Harley, and we're gonna let the world know. Okay, I should get back to work, shouldn't I? I just want to say this bike was a royal pain to take apart. This is coming from a guy that is used to riding sport bikes. You have to take off the fake chrome exhaust covers, apparently. I actually thought that this exhaust was a bright polished metal, and I was wrong, and my whole life is a lie now. Now, these bags are pretty easy to take off. The second thing you have to do is take off the rear section of the exhaust, which is actually polished, which is weird. The engine transmission cover comes off, and proceed to drain like 9 gallons of oil out of the motor. I mean, I've seen Honda Civics with less oil capacity. Then drain the gas tank, which actually holds a lot more than I thought. And then make sure to spill some oil on the ground too if you can. After you remove this, remove the cover, the chain, and the gear sets. Remove all the accessories like the starter and the main links between the engine and transmission. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of lost interest here. I'm gonna let Steven take it from here.
We're gonna pull the motor out. Everything's unbolted, ready to go. Apparently it was too heavy. And Rich said something about he got his manicure done and didn't want to tamper with his fingers.
You don't, not in this.
Yeah, yeah, you know.
Grab the shaft. Right under the shaft. Got it. Swing over. Swing over, grab it. There's one. Oh. Okay.
Sean, your guess on what this weighs? You think straight up 100 pounds?
100 and change. Give it a lift, Steven. No, that. Over to it.
Yeah, that's it's pretty heavy.
Ready? Go ahead. Yeah, beautiful. All right, here comes the transmission.
Set it and forget it.
Steven did a fantastic job, not only pulling the motor, but cleaning and organizing everything. That was a subtle hint that I need to clean the shop, but he did it for me instead. This is the transmission to the Harley Davidson. This thing is massive. Forgive me here. I'm not used to working with these large transmissions. I'm used to sport bikes. I had a CBR, 600RR, 1000RR, F4i, other things like that, but this is just a complete monster. The engine is isn't exactly small either, but Steven went ahead and actually cleaned the inside, got all the grease and dirt out, and instead of doing some grinding on the frame a little bit just to clean it up, we have to start making mounts to house the motor. Speaking of motor, This is the motor we're gonna use. It is a 20 kilowatt with 50 kilowatt peak motor by Golden. This is the same motor that was installed in the City EL that went over 60 miles an hour. This one is considerably larger, more powerful, more torque, and it has an option for liquid cooling, which I'm not sure if we're gonna need to use that in this bike yet. What I wanna start doing now is thinking about where I'm gonna place the controller. Now the controller is the thing that controls the motor. The problem is a little bit on the larger side, and I'm running out of spaces to put that in the bike. I really would like to put it in the middle here. Unfortunately, this is where the 12-volt battery as well as miscellaneous other wiring is going. Ideally, I'd like to put it in the actual gas tank. That is the fuel tank for the bike, and it going right here will be absolutely magic, because once we put the motor in the inside, we have to figure out where the batteries are gonna go as well. What I'm gonna do now is find a clever way to cut this gas tank open to see if I could fit that controller inside. I can't put the controller underneath here either, because the batteries are gonna be stacked up pretty high. Here's the hole that was cut. It's a nice big section at the bottom. What I'm noticing now is I don't think I could actually fit this in the way I want it to. Ideally, you'd want it up and down like this. What I'm noticing is because the tank is tapered, it gets thinner and thinner as it goes to the bottom. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have it widthwise. So it'll be side to side like this. Put this in the tank first. There you go. Now that that's here, and it's resting on top, I can easily fit the rest of the tank. That's exactly where it needs to be. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, wait a second, Richard, that's kind of high. That's a high voltage cable going to the top. What are you gonna do about that? That's almost touching the tank. That's okay, because Harley, like they always do, build things to excess. Watch this. You put this on top. There you go. There's plenty of room for this now. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut around this so there's more room. Cut some of this excess fat out of here at the side. I'm probably gonna end up cutting it all around here to open this up a little bit, and then we're all set. The motor's gonna sit about here. These cables still easily reach to the controller. Now you're probably thinking about cooling. It's actually okay because this is still open. I'll probably add a fan or two here, and it's getting air cooled by front airflow from the bike. This is looking pretty damn good so far. Let me get the seat action. See what I'm up against. You know, I never liked Harleys, but this one's actually starting to grow on me a little bit. That there. It's actually not that bad looking. Once that tank is painted black, obviously, won't be bad. Typical Harley behavior. Harley tings. All right. We were planning on putting the controller right here with the prior fuel tank on top of it. Prior, I mean like what's left of the fuel tank at this point. We have to cut the entire bottom out to flip the controller, which is also over here.
Where'd you put the gas?
Huh?
Where'd you put the gas to that?
Put it in the truck.
Oh,
always.
Of course.
Always, dude. We have to make a bracket for this. Well, number one, we have to move these wires, move this harness, move this tab over, run it underneath the bike instead of on top. We have to grind that so there's a good surface to weld onto. And then on this, we have to make a plate or get a plate right here, a nice rectangular plate to mount this controller on top of. We got a sprocket from Granger earlier today, which was a great pickup, but unfortunately it was slightly too small for the shaft of the motor. So we had to do some manipulation to make that a little bit easier to fit onto the shaft.
As you can see, we reamed it out because this 1 1/8, this, you know, seemed like that. But 30 millimeters is 30 millimeters.
Yeah, we have to make it a slightly bigger for it to work. The next thing we have to think about is, that seat, and that's gonna create a slight problem too. You want it to fit a little bit more snug on there. There is a keyway for it. Go figure. The key's right there.
So the other presented challenge here is this keyway is perfect until we bring it over to this guy. And then when I put this on here.
Yeah, there's still some play in it. So that's a slight issue, and by slight I mean it's kind of a big one.
It's kind of horrible.
Because if you look at this, the fact that that's floating around there so easily isn't ideal. So we need a much bigger key, but the problem with that is once we get a much bigger one there, then we have to make this one in turn larger as well. This fits perfectly in there, but here it's just too small. So much room, there's so much play on that. After that, we ordered a rear sprocket too. So what we're doing is we're going to convert this to chain drive. We should have that, I think, tomorrow. So we have to remove the rear wheel, remove this old belt drive, put the new sprocket on for the chain adapter, run a new chain, and attach it to this. The motors we've been getting are from Golden Motors.
And their customer service is absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you, Golden. And then what we're thinking of doing too is when we turn this shaft, there's a second set screw on this side. What we're gonna do after we figure out the final placement, we're gonna back out this set screw, run a drill bit through there to mark the location, and we're gonna put a dimple right there. So there's actually two places where the sprocket mounts to the shaft.
Yeah, it's not gonna fit on there.
So can we, wait a minute.
No.
That's part of the nose, so that's fine. Why this front towel isn't coming out? I don't know.
You got needle nose? Never mind. Yep.
Cool. Ta-da!
Oh, look. Bright orange Harley Davidson plastic.
Look at this, man. This is like a relic.
I told you, you just
But they
pulled
don't
it
even
off.
have... That's amazing. A cigarette lighter adapter. That's a debate. Do you leave everything in here? Because one of them's oil, that's no longer
It's
needed.
not turning on.
One of
I think
them's
it's broke.
one of them's air, that's no longer needed. That's 2. Fuel is not needed anymore. That's 3. 12-volt battery. No, there's no 12-volt anymore. So these 4 are gone. So at that point, maybe we can make like just a shroud here, like a plug, just to
Yeah.
cover it up. You know, I don't know. That's the debate. Do you leave it in there? Then they do nothing, or just cover them up? I don't know.
What do you cover them with?
What's this? I don't know. A piece of ABS. Cut it in a circle and just kind of
Just a little smiley face sticker?
Maybe Harley Davidson over and over again.
Just to live,
Or just a
live to
light.
ride to live?
Yeah, born to run.
Yeah.
Something like that.
After much ado.
It's all rusted.
He's saying,
ASMR. Oh yeah, look at that steam heat coming from the
Thanks,
undercarriage. You know, there's easier tools to do this with, but
There's got to be something easier to do
yeah,
with this, yeah.
when in Rome.
I'll be back in an hour.
Yeah, see you later. Time to grind down these tabs here for our motor mount. Pay no attention to that C4 Corvette right there. I swear, we're just waiting on parts. It's not abandoned. And after some placement, here's the golden motor resting upon the golden molder on the brackets. All right, we got the tacks in, and now we're gonna put the motor on top.
Is this the permanent location for it? Maybe?
So
is that where it's going to live?
chances are that's probably where it's going to be.
Okay.
These tabs are gonna mount right here.
Okay.
And we'll have these also slotted for adjustment as well while we figure out the final size with the chain and everything.
Okay.
And then we'll button it up on both sides. Oh guys, this doesn't look like it's going to be well balanced
Yeah,
because
womp womp.
we have to have the motor obviously offset to the side so that the shaft can line up with the chain. So what we're going to do is we're going to offset the batteries in the front over here, and We're going to weigh the two components and figure out what makes the happy medium, because everybody knows Harley Davidsons are perfectly balanced bikes. Here's what we're left with. Not bad for a McMuffin amateur.
Not bad at all.
Pretty okay. Pretty okay. Almost.
That's pretty not bad.
Pretty not bad. There's the motor laying on top of the rails. So now we're gonna go look over here to see what Rich is doing.
I'm looking at controller downloads.
I see.
But there's like a programming interface you have to get. I need the interface. Yes, the voltage is going to be 72 volts, and this is what I have.
All right, we're gonna grind these little tabs down here so that they mold to our brackets. There's our notch piece.
We did it.
You're really good at grinding. You really grind hard.
You know how many kids I have?
Maybe not as hard as grind hard plumbing, but you know, we love our boys over there.
Literally in their name.
Literally in their name. I'm just, you know, a mediocre grinder. That's, you know, that's why they're them and we're...
That's why they them.
they them. That's why they them and we're...
And them us, we're he him. And they're they.
Oh God. And cancel. You don't want any gloves on your hands?
Nah, I'll go gloveless, man.
Really?
I
You gonna raw dog it?
Harley has some of the strongest paint I've ever seen. Like this powder coating. Like, I've been grinding this thing for a while. This is a powder coat, man. There's the controller in the tank, finally.
This is the underside. The controller is hidden way up inside there.
It's in there, and it's all air cooled too. Look at that.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for airflow. If we have to add a computer fan,
We could do that.
we will.
So now,
This is the top side. I know what that drawing is there.
so we
Richard.
cut this out
What's that?
because this was covering here before, and we couldn't get access to these two terminals. So now, after I cut this out, I could just simply do this, and all the problems go away.
Yeah, but what's this?
So now what we have, we take the tank off and weld the tabs for the controller at the sides, like little winglets. Steven,
Hey.
what are you drawing here?
I'm drawing this bike.
Oh wow, look at that bike.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah, so we got 2 iterations here of just trying to figure out what we're doing now that we have the void of the V-twin.
Yes.
So, obviously, actually, it wasn't that obvious that the bike would look that weird without the motor in it. But it just goes to show you just how iconic a Harley is. And then once you remove that, you're looking at something that's just not.
It's like a giant hole there. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. This is where we've left off.
It actually looks pretty damn good, Steven.
I mean, minus the fact that there's nothing there. But
There's nothing there yet, but everything's mounted. Like
everything's ready. Your grinding was really good, too.
I mean, the slow motion, you know what I mean? Just kind of really get in there.
The hand gesture said it all.
But you know what this is.
Why he's good with the ladies. That's
So the controller's here, and these brackets are meant to support at least 100 pounds, and the controller is about 15 pounds. So that's overkill, obviously. So when this bike inevitably goes off a cliff, because it is a Harley still, the controller will stay intact.
when it leaks its own oil and causes us to
And
slick.
speaking of that, as you were doing that, as you were grinding that down, oil was leaking out of the frame.
It's still.
It's still leaking at this point. So hopefully once the welds are in there, that's sealed that hole. But it's incredible. It's actually very impressive.
Yeah.
I think it looks really good. The fact that the gas tank's going over it is a good touch.
It's funny looking at it right now with the gas tank off. It's like, oh wow, that's gonna fit. You know.
Yeah, it's amazing how big the gas tank is. So once the gas tank is on, we have to do some more trimming because it just lightly kisses the edges. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a light kiss is good in some cases.
But not here.
No, definitely not here.
Nobody wants that.
But we also left enough room to put the cables in, the logic cables for the motor. Okay, so now we have the motor mounted. We have the tabs in. Now we have to take care of the rear wheel. This sprocket came in, 51 tube sprocket, one of the larger ones. I wish I could have went larger, but unfortunately, this is a dish sprocket. It's concave, and that actually brings out the chain a little bit further away from the tire because you don't want it to rub. Because the tire is actually a couple inches wider than the rim itself. And if it was flat, it would be flat against the tire as well and rub against it. This one again is dish, which will help out in that way. Unfortunately, I couldn't find one that was a little bit bigger than this one that was still dish, but we're gonna see how well this one works. That's good. That actually works. There's good spacing there. One piece of good news. Oh, yeah, she's oiled all right. There she is. All right, so now that rear sprocket is in and so is the chain, and it's actually kind of looking like a regular bike right now. So I got this 50 chain, which is more of an industrial style and type of chain, and it's actually very comparable to a 530 chain, which is an actual standard motorcycle chain. Now on the inside, I had to bring the dish in. I was thinking the dish was gonna come out more and be a little bit more concave, but I had to bring it in more because there's not really much adjustability on this motor. It's kind of static in place. So when it's in, it actually brings the inner sprocket in more. This actually kind of looks kind of neat. I'm actually very excited about this. I'm excited about the small sprocket in the front to give it a little bit more power and acceleration, but this thing is shaping up to be really, really nice. Hopefully we can make some more progress. And once the batteries come in, be a little bit more put together. So I'll see you guys next week.